Welcome to Hollywood.
Alright, here in 5, and this is a bit of a special video. I've managed to get my hands on a Yeatle replay, and this might have put me a few dollars out of pocket, but it's very worth it. I'm very excited to be able to look at this with you guys. And if you don't know who this is Yeatle. He's a Hammond streamer and very successful ladder player with a peak SR of 4,699, so basically a 4.7 ball player. And here we can see him setting up on Hollywood. We're going to be watching the whole map, and this is where he's choosing to defend from initially. And this is just a scouting position. He just wants to get information about the team early so he knows what he's playing against. And we can look at the screen and we can see already that we're playing against Ryan Zarya. This is a heavy frontline pressure composition, or at least tank line. A bit of a sort of earlier stage of Overwatch win condition in this sort of Grav Dragon combo. Maybe that's what we're going to be seeing from the enemy team, or maybe they're just going to try and rush us down, or this Widow will get some picks. But in terms of matchups that we're chasing as Wrecking Ball, we feel really good about playing against Double Sniper with Ball. Both of those heroes, the Hunter and the Widow, we feel favoured in those 1v1s, and we want to go and chase those and shut those players down whenever they're isolated. So we're just going to watch this play out. You can see he's positioning here so that he can't be seen by the enemy players in spawn. He's going to hug this wall, and he gets to peek around the corner without being seen. So he sees the Ryan Zarya. He's actually going to back up to a second spot. This is the same kind of idea where he can see the enemy team, no problem. We can see the choke clearly. But if I go and look from the enemy POV, if I sit here, we can see that Yeatle himself can't be seen by the enemy team right now because he's playing with the cover. We're just going to sort of sit up here. We're going to see what happens. We see the Zarya get aggressive, and we actually go for a boop from behind. Gets booped by the Lucio. We get the fireball damage and then combo with a pile driver, and immediately we've got 2 picks in the fight. The Ryan managed to end up isolated on a point and dies, and we get a pick on the Hanzo with a bunch of our pile driver and fireball damage contributing towards that kill. So we're 2 up in a fight now, and this is where Yeatle's actually going to wrap around and boop the Zarya forward back into the fight that's already lost. He really wants to kill the Zarya and reset the Zarya's energy. We can also see that Yeatle's managed to get super low here, and he's going to stay in line of sight of his Ana and let her heal him and feed some of that nano charge to try and keep the Genji Blade and nano ult percentages at a similar level. This is always a good practice of letting your Ana heal you after team fights are won. So I'm definitely happy to see him doing that, and I think that's going to go a long way in making sure they have nano when their Genji's trying to use his blade. So here again, we're setting up for our hit. Whether that's going to be a boot from behind into a pile driver or just a pile driver from the high ground, we don't know yet. But we're watching this Kree walk up, and we've seen some hero swaps here. We've got a Hog now, no Zarya, and we've got a Kree instead of the Hanzo Widow. We're looking at Kree Ashe now, which this composition has suddenly become a lot more difficult to play ball into, in my opinion. But we're still going to be looking for the same sort of engagement timing of waiting for the enemy team to walk close to his Ryan, and he's going to pile drive in an area that's easy to follow up on for his Ryan swings and the rest of his team's damage. He doesn't want to go and pile drive deep into the choke where his team can't help him. He's really trying to make sure that his damage can be followed up on before it gets healed up. So this pile driver didn't go as expected. We got stunned out of the damage, it looks like. I'm just going to replay that. We're going to see an anti on Muma that screams, "Go in now." We want to go in while the Ryan is anti. Although I suppose, like, seeing the anti, we can expect the Ryan to be holding S. He wants to wait for the anti to wear off before they try and push this again. So maybe that's what catches Yeatle off, is the Ryan holding S so much that his shield is in the way of his play. This Ryan's really holding S. Right, so I want to watch for a hit marker here to see if any damage happens, and then I want to watch for the adaptive shield usage. Right, so we got no hit markers on the screen, so no damage from this pile driver. So as much as it looks like he did the pile driver movement going down, I think he gets stunned midway in the pile driver, removing the damage from it, and falls to the ground at the normal full speed of Overwatch. So really confusing to look at. And now what's going to happen is we're going to use adaptive shields, but because this Ryan shield is here, no one's actually in LOS, and we can see that he's got the ×1 on his screen, saying that he's only going to get 1 additional shielding, and that could be the Roadhog behind us. I'm not really sure what that's from. It looks like that's probably the Roadhog, I would say. But yeah, if you didn't know, shields are going to block line of sight for your adaptive shield usage, and it's a massive pain, and it feels really against how the hero wants to be played, and we're going to get caught out by that here as Yeatle. So what does this play look like if it worked out, if we didn't get stunned? If this Ryan shield didn't block, damage and the adaptive shields. It looks like a dead Rhine. It looks like some big adaptive shields. It looks like about 30% ult charge, putting us at that 90% mark. We're looking at a one team fight, and we're looking at having mines ready for the next fight after. But something we had ready for this fight was Nanoblade. And the other effect of this play here is that we take out cooldowns that the Genji Blade doesn't want to have to play against. And I think making space for Blade is why Yeatle continues to commit in, and we end up taking out Kree Flash and Shield Bash. So we feel really good about our Nanoblade combo that we've been sitting on, but our Genji ends up getting hooked and killed before the Nano arrives. This is where we really start to feel like we've lost the objective, and I think what we're going for here is we're going for what I call an ult cycle, where we go in just to get ult charge, we power drive, we use adaptive shields, and then we grapple away. We're not expecting to go and win team fights right now, so we just go in, we get a little bit of ult charge, and we leave again, and this could really make the difference in letting us get our ult. I think we thought about going for a power driver on the Rhine as they were pushing up here, and we're going to reset to this high grounded. Oh no, we're just going in. We didn't actually power drive, that's why we're able to do this. We go in and we're pressing an advantage now. We've managed to get two kills. We're pushing up, and we're grappling up here. I think what he's doing here, he was expecting the Kree to have continued walking up onto this high ground, and he was going to catch the Kree here in a 1v1. But turns out the Kree isn't here, and the Kree's actually gone back into spawn, I take it. I think he's still looking for the Kree. We do get the kill on him in the end. A few people did get out alive, but it's going to happen. But what's important is our intent was that we push up after getting kills in the team fight. So this is interesting because in the corner of our eye we see the Hog coming up the stairs, checking for us, and then as a reaction he goes and minefields the bottom of the stairs, somewhat blind I felt like. Yeah, we see the Hog come up and check for us. We grapple out for the movement speed so we get over a lot of the team, and then we minefield 180 power driver. We're grappling into a high noon here, which is terrifying, and we do manage to break LOS with it and get this mega. So overall we just sort of complicated pushing out of spawn for them. I don't know that this minefield got too much value, and here so we get booped away from this, but the intent there was to grapple in and power drive on the shattered enemies. I think it does get counterplayed though. I think it might have been a break boop that knocks us away there, or the Ash coach gun, and it pushes us away. But what's important is that Yeatle holds down his grapple key, and he still has a grapple active, so he's able to swing forward again. I think that's something you might not necessarily notice, but if you imagine that he'd let go of grapple early before being booped, he's going to get knocked back and not be able to come back forward again. And essentially we get that same power driver, it's just delayed by the boop. So we're going to see the shatter, and immediately Yeatle grapples in. He's getting booped away, but he's holding on to his grapple, and that means he gets to keep controlling where he's going. Just a small thing, but it's a good practice in general against sort of abilities that push you and move you around. If you hold on to your grapple, you can get free fireballs and just retain control of where you're going. This is actually a cool moment as well, as he's surfing on the roof to get his power driver cooldown back. You can see he uses it just as it comes back off cooldown, and he bought some time for it to come back off cooldown by sort of slowing his fall by sliding on the roof. It looks like we might die here. We just managed to escape with our adaptives, and our Ana saves us with Nano. I don't like this Nano much. Our Genji's got blades, so I'm not really sure why we've been nanoed there. We'll just go and see if this is the Nano steal. Ana really farms Nano in this fight. Like, we're 60 to Nano here, and then in 20 seconds time we've got the Nano and it's going on Yeatle, you know? So we'll watch this one sec. So we see the Hog. Now it's definitely a Nano intended for Yeatle. It's just a really, really strange play to go for. The way I think about it with Nano, nanoing a ball is more of an initiation to a team fight. I definitely don't like nanoing a ball for survivability. If your ball goes in and you're the Ana, and you see him drop to low health, and he's used his shields, he's used his power driver, he's used his grapple, you don't want to nano him after that, because Nano has a lot of synergy with ball's cooldowns, but survivability isn't one of the reasons sort of like I don't know how to express it, but I think Bull is one of the least punished heroes in the game for dying. Like, you can die a lot on Bull and still see a lot of success. Yeatle could have died here and he could have been back pretty much in like 12, 13 seconds. He's going to get the normal respawn time, but he's got the fastest rollout from spawn back to the fight compared to any other class. So I don't like this nano on our Bull. It would have been better to just save for Nano Blade and let the Bull die, and know that you're gonna get value from your nano. But generally, when you nano a Bull, you want him to be able to press all of his cooldowns during the nano duration. You want a damage boost on the pile driver, you want a damage reduction on the shields he uses, and potentially the damage boost on a grapple. Grapple is going to be good as well. But so yeah, not a fan of that. We've resetted to this high ground here, which is going to be used a lot, I would say. This sort of first platform on Hollywood is really strong for Bull. And you're going to see there's not a great deal that their team can do about him. And I think we want to poke for ultimate. We want to like build our ult, and we're going to shoot the hog for that biggest hitbox. But even if this Ashe does start landing shots on us, we can just walk backwards away from the ledge and break line of sight. And if I go to the Ashe POV, you'll be able to see like we can see that even if we aim at Yeatle, if he just walks backwards and presses S a bit, we immediately can't see him. So that's sort of the advantage Yeatle's getting from being on this high ground, is he can choose at any moment to stop having this sort of conversation with their team. Without spending any cooldowns, he gets to just not exist at the press of S. See, we back away from the high ground and we can't be shot anymore. So it really gives him a lot of control in how much damage he's taking. And I think we were looking to use our minefield here and then decided we didn't need it. We see the kill on the Ana. We play slow a little bit here. We let ourselves get tops off. And I honestly felt like we were going to press our advantage and sort of roll forward and start playing on the high ground near their spawn. But it looks like because we only got one pick, we're going to stay further back and reset to the high ground. The Ana's already back, so we're just looking to use mines from this high ground here, I think. So this Rhine is really split from their team, and he's going in, he's minefielding off. He's minefielding the Rhine off from his team. To me, this minefield confirmed a kill on this Rhine, and then the team sort of failed to get it. But what this minefield has done is completely split the Rhine from the rest of his team, and that's super valuable. And it's so much pressure that they have to nano the Rhine. But honestly, I felt like there was definitely a window where we could have just straight up gotten the kill here. So it's kind of unfortunate that it doesn't work out. We do get a few of these mines sticking to the side, which sucks. I wish this didn't happen. And Yeatle's going to go aggressive. At 400 health, he gets booped away by the he gets stunned by the Kree and booped away by the Brig, and then we're spending quite a lot of time in Kree line of sight without being healed. So I think he also was expecting for them to nanoblade there, and they just were a little a tiny bit of ult progress off that. I could definitely see that team comms were like saying, yeah guys, we've got nanoblade this fight, we're gonna nanoblade, and then they just didn't quite have it in time. We've just lost our Genji there. We've used nano on not Genji for a second time in a row now, which kind of sucks. It looks like we wanted to go on the second high ground, and we've just messed it up a little bit, and now we're talking to their Brig, which isn't never a lot of never too much fun. So we go back to cart, we contest cart, we pile drive cart, and it just lines up with an Ashe dynamite, and we get a kill straight away. Honestly huge. If that's their Ashe on high ground, we want to go contest that. I don't like going behind and chasing the enemy Bull much. I don't think this does a lot. I think what we're doing is just building ult charge. Otherwise, I don't like chasing the enemy Bull. But I think Yeatle wanted to have his ult, and now he's resetting to the high ground, which is going to give him a great position to use ult from. When you have mines, you should definitely be positioning in a way that makes using the mines easier. This must be like the 4th or 5th time we've been here in the game. It's just a really strong position. He keeps taking it. It sets up for so many plays. From here, we're going to be looking for a boop on the Orisa. And this can force out Fortify. It really It complicates the Orisa's life, it potentially sets up for a kill, but it always forces out Fortify, and that just makes the push for the enemy team a lot harder. Like, the Orisa finds it more difficult to sort of walk forward and take space. And now we're mining off the Orisa from the rest of our team, from the rest of her team. This is a bit like what we did to the Rhine previously, where we're trying to split the main tank off from her team. And here it looks like we want to go and fight the Ana. We spend quite a long time on the floor in Kree LOS, and that never goes too well. So we're going to respawn here. This is potentially the last fight here. We're probably not expecting to get mines. We turn up, the fight's ongoing, and Yeatle immediately wants to be involved. He's not going to bother trying to take exciting positions. He's just going to go in and try and be involved in a fight that's taking place. And I think there's definitely a sort of skill set to recognizing when you can afford to sort of take your time and set up for a good position, and when it's urgent that you just get involved and try and help your team take 6v6 fights. We definitely don't want to let our team sit around taking 5v6s while we try and set up on fancy high ground positioning. I think Yeatle just turns up, he recognizes the fight's ongoing, I need to be involved now, and he just grapples in power drives. And here we feel like we've won this team fight, and we're going to push up and look for more kills. It is the last fight, so we just need to go and deal with this ball on cart now. So this is going to be a successful hold, and now if we want to talk about when this game is won, it definitely feels like, to me, holding on the second point, this is where the game's won, right? Like, you can expect in a balanced game, with balanced teams that perform to an equal level, that maybe both teams complete the map. This game feels like we've made a lot of progress towards winning it by holding the cart in this position on second. I actually find attacking Hollywood first as ball really quite difficult. Generally for me, attacking first on Hollywood, I'm thinking about rolling on the floor behind past the Mega. Maybe taking the Mega and maybe power driving on point from behind. So we're going to see what Yeatle does here. We see a Fire Strike, we know we're playing against Rhine. We see a Zarya bubble, we know we're playing against Rhine Zarya. It's going to poke a little bit. And straight away we take this high ground. That's actually super interesting. I never usually do this. As far as what we're going to do from this position, this sets up for a pile driver in range of our Rhine swings. This is another thing about advantages of high ground for Wrecking Ball. He's able to pile drive and still have his grapple cooldown available afterwards, and you can see there that he pile drives and then he's able to grapple around, deal damage to enemies with the fireball, and also get to the Mega, get to safety quickly using his grapple cooldown. Whereas if he just grapples into the enemy team and pile drives, he doesn't have that escape mobility. He can't necessarily get out of the situation. I really agree with killing the Torb turret here. That's generally what I would be doing in this situation. I think killing the Torb turret is super important, but while we've been doing that, Spree's managed to go and kill like most of our team. So definitely Zarya on defense can totally sort of be a time limit for you. Like, she's going to punish you if you sit around doing nothing. So we do have to play kind of fast. Yeatle has to sort of break this open and solve this before the Zarya gets too much value over time. This is the sort of pathing I take usually, of going on along the floor to this Mega, and he's going to grapple through from behind, hit a bunch of people with Fireball and get massive adaptive shields off. So we boop the Rhine forward and force a bunch of reactive cooldowns out. And then during window we sort of go through the window and power drive and maybe take some attention away from the damage boost of the window itself. This position's a lot like the position he took coming back from respawning in that sort of late fight. I think the second to last fight on defense. He rolls out from spawn and then he goes past the team fight and starts sitting in a doorway, like inside a building, with a small sightline out of it that he can be harassing people from. And it's really annoying to deal with, because if too many people look at Yeatle here, he can just go in ball form and roll away backwards. He's got so much cover to be working with. And if no one looks at him, he just gets to build his ult for free. He gets to shoot from behind the Rhine shield, which Mima really doesn't want to deal with. The Rhine always wants all the damage to be happening from one direction, simple direction that he can hold and block with his shield, and that he can break LOS with whenever he wants to. But we do lose someone to the window fire strike combo. 200 HP fire strike is going to take out our Kree. So we certainly don't feel like we're favoured in this fight. We don't feel like we're going to win. I think this is one of the fights where you let them use ults and turn up to the next fight with your own. I don't think Yeatle wants to go in and try and use his ult now. I don't think he wants to go pile drive on point and then put mines down. We'll see if he does do that. But yeah, this is that sort of deep off angle, and you can see Spree sort of turning around to see what's shooting him. But the Brig tries to whip shot into this room, and he's not able to do it. And now we're way behind on high ground, behind the enemy team. And this is just because we didn't want to die late while our team isn't taking a fight. He really makes himself inaccessible, but I'm expecting him to maybe drop down and go into what I call cafe and go on the high ground in there and mine the point from there. And he wants to time that with the rest of his team pushing in. So we get a pick on the Zarya, which is massive, and this is really screaming to Yeatle to go in. He sees the opportunity and he takes it. A dead Zarya means that his mines are going to have less counterplay to them in terms of like using his ult against the enemy composition. He was most worried about the Zarya bubbles, which are going to give 2 people in his minefield free passes. The Zarya isn't going to die to mines if she's got a bubble available. The Zarya might bubble someone in the mines and keep that person alive. So we're generally going to want to wait for Zarya bubbles to be used before we use mines. But instead we end up with a kill on the Zarya herself, and that just really opens us up for Yeatle's ult. So we go in from behind, we shove mines down, and we're immediately just getting involved. We recognize the opening, and we're putting ourselves in a position to succeed. We're demanding attention, and all these ults come out, and this has the effect of making space for our nano blade. Like when defending first, Yeatle gets super involved and takes a bunch of cooldowns out of the enemy team so that the Genji doesn't have to worry about them. It's not pretty and we don't kill anyone ourselves, but by going in and dying like this, Yeatle actually played a big part in this fight going so well. So we're going to be catching up with our team here. We don't expect to have any problems capping the point here. I wouldn't expect. Enemy team's just going to respect that we've won that. And here, not really sure why we're doing this grapple. I think he just wants visibility. He wants to get a look at where the enemy team's playing. I think Yeatle likes to get information early, and now we're playing against Sombra. But we've already taken this this early high ground on second that we've been to so many times throughout this game. We're going to be looking to fight this map, and generally your reaction to being in a 1v1 with a squishy hero on high ground is to pile drive and like unload bullets into them. And we do go for that, but the map's going to jump away. Like we managed to get a finishing blow on the Brig. I'm not sure where the initial damage came from there, but we're trading blows in this team fight. Lost our Rhine. Kind of just want to get out at this point, I would say. Yeah, we're going to back up a bit. We want to wait for our Rhine to come back. We managed to force the Sombra out. We're still going aggressive. This is terrifying to me. It's a shame this Mega's hacked. We are going to live though. We're taking so much attention. Like, an interesting thing about the nano we just saw is it's damage boosted our pile driver. I don't know if the Ana has nanoed us during the pile drive animation. I just want to watch for that because that's a cool thing to talk about sometimes. All right, so let's watch this nano. Yeah, so we see the pile driver animation start, and the Ana reacts with the nano, which is a really cool play. Something you might not know about Hammond is that if you want to damage boost any of his ability damage, the damage from his grapple or the damage from his pile driver, you only need to introduce the damage amplification before the impact. So Yeatle, as he's crashing into the ground, you could nano him so long as the nano arrives on Yeatle and he starts glowing blue before hitting the ground, that damage is going to be boosted. So we press the pile driver cooldown and this nano turns up, and bam, from 60 to 75 ult, so 15% ult for this pile driver. And this is going to give him some survivability against Sombra, the hack that comes through. Even though we're not popping off and like killing everyone, we're tanking a lot of abilities. and damage and living with it, which is good value. These were abilities that were going to be shoved on this Rhine. Kind of getting pushed out by the Zarya here. So Muma's turned up in our team with a bubble. I think this is a good thing to do. I think this is the time when it's okay to look at the enemy ball, is when he turns up in your team and the rest of your team's looking at him. We're just sort of waiting for our Rhine to turn up again since he died late in the previous fight. And I think Yeatle's going to go and take that initial close high ground on second, I would expect. And that's going to set up for his minefield, yeah. So we're going to go take this high ground. We're going to immediately start firing at this BAP. Maybe pile drive the BAP. I think here we saw the Zarya use personal and we react by using minefield and the pile driver. I think this minefield also means that the enemy team's not able to follow up on the EMP as much as they'd like to. Suddenly they can't hold W into our team because we've put mines down everywhere. So I think you could consider this somewhat defensive ult usage. Not really sure where the EMP was. Yeah, it looks like J3's like, the Sombra's like super deep in, and he does EMP everyone, which is impressive. But his team just isn't able to close the distance because there's all these mines everywhere and they don't have a speed boost. So yeah, I think that's why we've played like this. We're trying to confirm this kill on the Kree and we just don't manage it. And I think we're hiding our head hitbox from the Sombra, but we're still gonna die. Just a bit of a lopsided interaction. We don't expect to win that 1v1. So I feel like we haven't used Nanoblade ever in this game. We keep nanoing people that aren't our Genji, but hey. And again, we're taking this high ground. It's so important to Yeatle to have control of this high ground, this initial platform. We managed to get the kill on Muma. We very nearly kill the Sombra. We're up in this fight. We're going aggressive once we've got picks. And the Sombra TP's into us, which we'll always take that. And now we're just lining up our damage combos on the back. We force Lamp out, and we're probably going to get the kill as well, I would expect. Yep. And now we're looking at like potentially last fight. If we win this fight, we win the game. So we really want to invest in this. And it's super important killing Zarya. Now we're just sort of looking at focus fire, and the team doesn't even contest the point. So that's all we're going to look at for this video. If you've made it this far and you enjoyed it, do let me know, and do go follow Yeatle if you haven't already. He has some of his own guides on YouTube for Ball, and you can find him streaming on Twitch almost every day. I'll be putting those links in the description, and I'll be back with another video about Ball soon.